Hi friends, go ahead and take out this paper called Comparing and Ordering Numbers from the middle of your table and grab a dry erase marker and follow along with me. Let's start with are you reading closely and looking for this first problem. The first R means read the question, so circle the question mark and go all the way back to the beginning of the sentence. Go ahead and put your finger on which. It says, which number is less than 4,836 but more than 4,628. So let's go ahead and cross off the R and the U because we already underlined the sentence. And the next step is to read the details, but there are no more details, so let's cross this R off. And the C stands for circle clue words. So the first thing that I can circle is, well, I'm looking for which of these numbers is going to be less than. Remember that less than, if we take a look at our word wall, is whenever there is a small number and the smallest number gets the smallest number of dots. So they get 1 dot. So I'm just going to put 1 dot right there. So it's going to be less than, so one of these numbers is going to be less than this number, but more than, and if we take a look at our word wall, more than, hang on just a second. More than is the same as greater than, and the number that's greater than gets the greatest number of dots. So that's 2 dots. So I'm going to put in my 2 dots right here. And one of these numbers has to be more than this number. So this question looks a little bit tricky, but it's actually pretty easy because the only strategy that we have to do is on the answer choices. But what should we do first? Our main idea. My main idea is going to be which number is less than 4,836, but more than 4,628. All I have to do for my details is bring these numbers over, and in my strategy, I'm just going to label my answer choices. So now that we have that, we can start with A. Remember, we're looking for one of these numbers that's going to be less than this number. So if one of these numbers has to be smaller, remember that the smaller number gets the smallest number of dots. So I'm going to put 1 dot here, 1 dot here, 1 dot here, 1 dot here, and one of these should be smaller than this number that they give us. So I'm just going to copy that number down in each of these. 4,836, and if you run out of room here, it's okay to erase and then just rewrite it off to the side. 4,836, 4,836, and 4,836. So I'm not going to worry about this detail yet. I just need to figure out which of these really is smaller than this number that they gave us. So let's start by comparing. Remember, when we compare, we have to start in the largest place value, in the biggest place value. And in order to do that, now we have to look at our place value chart to start labeling our place values. Remember that the place value that goes all the way over to the edge on the right side is the ones. So I'm going to go over all the way to the very edge to the ones. I'm going to label my ones, then my tens, hundreds, and 1,000s. Don't forget your comma. Same thing for the number over here. I'm going to go all the way over to the very edge on the right side and label my ones, tens, hundreds, and 1,000s. Don't forget your comma. So now that I have that, I pretty much have labeled all of the place values for my numbers. Since we want to start in the biggest place value, then let's put our fingers on the 1,000s and the 1,000s. So let's see. Which one is bigger, 4 or 4,000? Well, they're both the same, so that's not going to help me. So let's cross them off. What about the 8 in the hundreds and this 8 in the hundreds? Which one is bigger? Well, both of them are the same, so that's not going to help me. Let's cross them off. Now, which is bigger now, 4 or 3 tens? Well, the 4 tens is bigger than 3 tens, so remember that the greatest number gets the greatest number of dots. But that symbol does not match the symbol that should be there, so that means A is wrong. Now I'm going to B. Let's put to the number in the thousands place. What's bigger, 4 or 4? They're both the same, so let's cross it off. Now let's go over to the hundreds. What's bigger, 6 or 800? 800 is bigger, and this symbol does match. So I'm going to put an M for maybe. Now let's go to C. What's bigger, 4,000 or 4,000? They're both the same, so let's cross it off. What about 600 or 800? Well, 800 is bigger again. Remember that the bigger number gets the biggest number of dots, and our symbol does match. So let's put an M for maybe. D. What's bigger, the 4 or the 4,000? They're the same, so let's cross it off. What about the 800 or the 800? They're both the same too, so let's cross it off. What about the 9 tens or the 3 tens? Well, 9 tens is greater than 3 tens, so remember the greatest number gets the greatest number of dots. Since that symbol does not match our symbol, that means it's wrong. Okay, so we have two possible answers, and this is where the second detail in the problem comes into place. So I know for sure A is wrong and D is wrong, so I don't have to look at them again. And now I have two possible answers. Let me go back and read this. It says that one of these numbers has to be more than this number. Remember that the bigger number gets the biggest number of dots. So this time, instead of doing anything else over here, I'm just going to go over here to this side. I'm going to erase my maybes, and I'm going to put my 2 dots, because it's saying that this number is bigger than this number. So now all I have to do is write this number on the other side. So I'm going to write 4,628, and again, 4,628. And now that I have that, I can start comparing in my biggest place value. So we can erase those lines that we used to cross them off earlier. And I don't need any of this. Okay, let's put our finger in the thousands place and let's start comparing. What's bigger, 4 or 4? Well, they're the same, so let's cross them off. Now let's go to the hundreds. What's bigger, 600 or 600? They're both the same. Let's cross them off. What about 20 or 90? Well, 9 tens is bigger than 2 tens, so the greater number gets the greatest number of dots. And B does match with that. So let's go to C to double check to make sure that C is wrong. In C, what's bigger, 4,000 or 4,000? They're both the same. What about 600 and 600? Well, they're both the same too. But in the tens place, what's bigger, 2 tens or 0 tens? Well, 2 tens is bigger. So the bigger number gets the biggest number of dots. That symbol does not match our symbol, so that means that all of C is wrong. And that means that B is our answer.